There's no sign of any deal in crunch talks in Brussels over the possible bailout deal for Cyprus. The Cypriot president, his finance minister, the EU and IMF representatives and the European Central Bank have been meeting all afternoon. If there is no deal, Cyprus's banks are likely to collapse as early as tomorrow and the country exit the Eurozone. I'm joined now live from the Cypriot capital, Nicosia, by our economics editor, Faisal Islam, who's outside the Parliament building. Faisal.
Katie, I think we might be closer to the potential exit of Eurozone member than we ever have been before. Those negotiations are not going to get finished tonight. If we're lucky, they'll get finished tomorrow. If we're unlucky, developments in the past few moments from Brussels, reported in the Greek and Cypriot press, are that the Cypriot president has threatened to resign to the head of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, saying, "You're putting me in a position where I'll have to resign, you'll regret this." And something else is connected to this, which is the freezing of the sale of the Greek subsidiaries of the Cypriot banks at a fire sale price to Greece that was designed to create a firewall between Cyprus and Greece. Everything's up in the air. There are splits in the Troika. There are splits even within the German government about how important Cyprus is geopolitically. And that's why I went to North Cyprus to have a look at the geopolitical implications of all of this and the implications for the split of this island.
Across the rooftops of Nicosia are the symbols of this island's history. Now again at the top of global concerns, but for different reasons. A geopolitical divide running through Cyprus that's even difficult to see at street level until you stumble into the border guards, and then it becomes very real. Off limits for nearly 4 decades, these streets deserted since the island's partition. On the Greek side of the line today, a D-Day of sorts. Their fate in the single currency decided 2,000 miles away at a meeting in Brussels of their president with the Eurozone and the International Monetary Fund. No queues today, but the limits on cash withdrawals were squeezed again as the bank vaults run dry.
Now it's 120 euro, and 1 week ago it was 500 euro or maybe more than 500. But I have a problem with my Greek card.
The key sticking point was a desire by Cyprus's rescuers to wind down the Bank of Cyprus, which holds many of the deposits of Cyprus's political and legal elite. A desperate attempt to resist pressure from the Troika and keep some sort of offshore financial centre on this island. On the north of the island, you can't move for the flags of the self-proclaimed Republic of Northern Cyprus and its protector, Turkey. But something here is moving. The troubles of the south might change this island forever.
Well, I wish that they recover soon, because what we want in Cyprus is a prosperous future to be shared by both. We cannot be happy if our neighbor is not happy.
If you travel north on pristine motorways, paid for by the now booming economy in Turkey, you stumble across something extraordinary resting on the beach.
50 miles in that direction is the Turkish mainland. And yet over here is the rather epic project that will see these pipelines next year gushing with Turkish drinking water pumped directly to this point in northern Cyprus. At that point, the north will have the drinking water and the south will have the gas reserves, all of which goes to show that the crisis on this island is about far more than ATMs and Russian Learjets. It's a massive, great game for influence in this part of the Mediterranean.
In a week when the sands have shifted hugely in Turkey, Israel, Russia and the Eurozone, it's complicating negotiations and calculations about whether Cyprus will be allowed to fail by Brussels, and it's leaving the north of Cyprus smiling.
Right now, it's European Union Cyprus that has capital controls, and this part of Cyprus that has a functioning banking system and a growing economy.
In Turkish Nicosia, there is a spot of schadenfreude at the fate of their neighbours, but when we spoke to the Prime Minister, unifying the island is back on the agenda.
Mr. Prime Minister, What's your reaction to what's going on in the south of this island, this crisis?
Of course, I see this as the accumulated effect of many years of their system. I can say that the juncture that they now find themselves at has not come as a surprise to us.
Might there be, in this crisis, an opportunity? Might it create conditions that are better for a lasting solution and a peace to the split of the island?
Considering the people in both countries and caring for their livelihoods and welfare, this could lead to relatively more positive developments.
Cash-strapped southern Cyprus was banking on using these gas reserves as a security in any bailout. Today, Turkey itself waded in, the foreign ministry saying that that was dangerous. Last week, Turkey also made up with Israel, which had been lined up as Cyprus's gas partner.
Now that the Turks and the Israelis are becoming friends again, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Cypriots to do that internationally, to unilaterally get that gas.
That's what they were depending on for their bailout to some degree.
Absolutely, they were trying to monetize it, something that the Turks have said that they would reject wholeheartedly. It's going to be very, very difficult to get that done now.
So Cyprus's options closing as the sands shift on this island.